Hello, beautiful souls. I'm Christine Padavon, the Paladina, and I'm a little excited this morning, so excuse me that I'm not, I'm still in workout clothes, and I wanted to get you this information fairly quickly because I had posted last night a video I did regarding heavy metal toxins, and specifically more on arsenic. And as I posted it, a news blurb popped in the news feed on the same search, heavy metal poisoning, and it was it's under 4 minutes, and it's a eyewitness news local station. It's actually WEHT, WTVW, and it talked about toxic metals in popular baby foods like beech nut, Gerber, even organic, food companies that make baby food have this issue, and finding high levels of arsenic, lead, cadmium, and obviously the concern about that. And that is why I'm quickly trying to get this out there. This is not new information. If you look back, there was I think it was a Good Morning America video back in 2018 that these are the same tests. This is not new information. Now you say to yourself, okay, heavy metals are not good accumulating in the body. We were talking a little bit about that. So what do you do if you can't afford even some of these organic, I'm just been doing the research, these organic food companies, and there are a couple here that have very low amounts of arsenic, lead, cadmium, and metals like that. They do very stringent testing. But here's the complaint from these, these food manufacturers. Well, it's in the fruit and vegetables already that they are purchasing to create the baby food. So what do? Two things. First, we have to, right now, the main solution is to purify the soil, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But in the meantime, what do you do to mitigate the amount of heavy metals getting into your baby as your child is growing? Okay? So rice is rice absorbs the most amount of arsenic and toxins in the soil, just plain white rice. Two rice products that have the least amount of arsenic and contaminants in it are white basmati rice, white basmati rice, and sushi rice. So you could be making those two yourself. Please cook it in purified water. All right, so that's another thing, is water, tap water, if you don't have a whole house filtration system, is going to have stuff in it. So, and we know this from experience, moving to a certain location in New Jersey where the tap water was not ideal at all, and we actually went to a natural spring. My parents would go there with empty gallon and 5-gallon bottles and fill it at this natural spring because the tap water was crap to do all our cooking in. So definitely when you're cooking the rice, you want to do that in purified water. Okay. The other thing that was, some tips that I was researching was don't give the same rice cereal. Using rice as a cereal for your baby, using oatmeal, barley, quinoa. Now, again, I mean, it's going to be an issue if these foods are grown in soil that have the contaminants. All right, so what do? You say, okay, well, I can't afford some of these more expensive brands, and I don't have a lot of time to, even if I'm going to do this myself, that the fruit and vegetables that I'm buying, already have a certain amount of contaminants in it, arsenic or lead, from water, copper, anything like that. So there's two things you can do to be detoxifying, or helping your baby not absorb these metals in the blood and into tissues and organs. And there's two things you can do. Bay leaf water is basically glutathione, natural glutathione. So in plant form, basically. So bay leaf water. So bay leaves, you can buy them organically at the supermarket. Again, I would take about 2 quarts of water. Do not use an aluminum or iron pot, stainless steel, okay? Again, make sure the water is purified. And I do 2 quarts at a time for myself. You can do up to 4 quarts because even for yourself, this is a great detoxifier. I also, when I was poisoned, I would make boatloads of bay leaf water. So with 2 quarts, I would take 6 big leaves. If not, if you don't have them as big, I would use 8 to 10 smaller leaves. Boil that gently. Get the water boiling, and then simmer the leaves. Put them in the boiling water. Simmer it for 15 minutes, and you're going to see the water turn. It's not going to be a dark green, but it's going to be like a pale green color. All right. So you're basically getting those nutrients of the bay leaves into the water. And of course, let it cool. You're not going to, give this to your baby hot. At least room temperature, if not a little cooler. And about a tablespoon mixed in formula, mixed in the food that you're giving your baby, is going to help tremendously in keeping those metals from sticking inside the body of your baby as they're eating this food. Another great food, actually itself, is avocado. And that's a great magnet for heavy metals. So guacamole, and or however you want to puree the avocado, if you want to peel it yourself and make it yourself. But that is also a great metal magnet for pulling that out of the body. So either by itself, you want to mix it with the food, it's up to you. But these are 2 wonderful methods to use as you are giving your baby commercial baby food products. If you can't, find, I'm going to give you a link to some of the brands that tested really well for having very low amounts of metals in their processing. And if you just feel like, I don't have the time to, buy all these organic fruits and vegetables if it's still going to have an issue, have these metal issues. So I would say those are the methods I would use: is bay leaf water mixed in your baby's food, and avocado made as guacamole, or buy avocado or guacamole, and keep your baby's brain and organs and everything else, keeping those metals from harming and creating issues later on. And we'll have more on that when the heavy metals poisoning site goes up, but I'll include a couple of other websites. Now, the thing with how do we purify the soil? Let's start from ground zero. Purifying the soil before you grow fruits and vegetables and grains is basically the solution to keeping those metals from getting into the food in the first place. Now, how do you do that? is a great plant, and no one's thought of this yet. There are great plants that actually naturally deter pests like mosquitoes and flies and aphids and stuff from eating the food. What do you do to purify the soil? Poison ivy. Now, this is going to be kind of a trick to people saying, oh, well, that's great, but if I'm planting poison ivy along my, say, green beans and stuff like that, what am I going to, I'm going to have to wear all this extra protection because the leaves themselves, of course, do stuff to our skin that's not too cool. And so that's something I'd like, be interesting to talk to a botanist about over time, because how do we keep ourselves from getting poison ivy all over us? So that'll be interesting, but that does work. If you have arsenic or anything in the soil, the poison ivy literally just pulls it into its roots and into itself. It's similar to a petunia, and I'll give you that example here. Petunias, what they do, as a natural deterrent for aphids, tomato hornworms, and asparagus beetles is they don't even really repel them. The petunias actually trap them in the stickiness of their stamens. You want to say stamens? They're stamens, I'm sorry. Stamens. And they die, just naturally once they touch the stamens. So, so here you have a plant doing that to prevent you from having to, use a pesticide, a chemical pesticide on your fruits and vegetables when you're growing them in your garden. So if farmers know this, there's about 15 plants that help do this. Poison ivy is a plant that will purify the soil.